Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. My camera decided it was not going to work. It enjoyed having the break that we've had for the past 3 weeks and did not want to come back, but we're all back. We got Ian, we got Dave. What's up, guys? How's it going? Big win, of course.
Did anyone expect the win? I certainly didn't. That
Yeah, I
was
mean, for me, yeah, I feel great, bro. I feel great to answer the question. I guess when you ask an Inter fan that question after a win versus Juve, there's only one answer, regardless of how our season is going. But to go off what Ian is saying, it was definitely not expected. I'll even admit that I would have been. I went into it with the mindset that I would have been okay with a draw. Especially we haven't won there in 10 years. So that says how important that win was to us, and even more important now that Milan shit the bed yesterday. So I'm sure we're gonna get into that as well. But I feel great, man. Long-winded way of saying I feel great. It's glad to be back. It's good to be back. We've been off for about 3 weeks because we haven't really felt like potting after the two draws, and then we had the international break after that. So I'm sure the guys miss us, and I've missed the guys. So I can't wait to see them in the comments and interact with everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I missed it quite a lot, but there just wasn't too much to talk about. It was all doom and gloom. I think we had exhausted all of our positivity for that stretch of matches, but we got an international break in. We got the first win in what was it, 9 years at Juventus. I believe I was like 13 last time it happened, so it's pretty crazy. Yeah, good win, big win. The win certainly back in my sales. I'm certainly ready to run off a few more podcasts here in the couple next coming weeks. Should be good, but yeah, I don't know where to really start with the match. I know the result was great, but what we saw on the pitch wasn't necessarily the most beautiful limone ball or whatever you want to call it. We played the way that Max Allegri usually plays with his Juve teams, and
Hmm.
we got the win the big bad empire way of just shithousing your way there. Yeah, I'll start with you, Dave. Yeah, is there anything to take from the performance? Maybe, some grit that this team has now found or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, you said it yourself. That's the main thing I'll say you could take from this performance is the grinta, like they like to say in Italy, the grit. We saw that those guys they still care for the shirt, they still respect it, and they still fight for it. And for those who actually may have had ideas or question marks on whether the players still wanted to play for Inzaghi or not, I think that was answered as well. Now, as far as the performance, it's not something that we're gonna remember or that we should even be talking too much about because it was one of those situations where they were the aggressor. They were the aggressors from the get go, and of course they're at home. This is probably the most offensive lineup I've seen Allegri put out because he had Dybala starting and Marotta and Vlahovic, and he also had Quadrado on the right hand side. So he had all guns blazing, and he was trying to pretty much beat us. And of course, had it been their win instead of ours, that would have propulsed them to the Scudetto battle as well. Given Milan dropped some points. So all in all, man, we got the result that we needed. It's a mark of a true champion when you're able to beat a team when you're not the best team on the pitch that day, and just by sticking with your guns. And look, this guy back there, Skriniar, man, I don't know what to say about him. Like he single-handedly held us together because he was, of course, in the middle this time as opposed to his right-hand side position that he's usually on, but he was literally at the heart of the team, keeping everything together. So I'm so impressed by this guy.
Yeah, Skriniar, that was a massive performance. I think it's just another notch in his belt towards, captaincy status. I don't think there's anyone that can dispute that at this point, unless there's some kind of contractual deal somewhere that keeps him out of it for someone else.
Yep.
But that's got to be
Hmm.
the only way. I think really the one big sticking point out of this whole match was the controversy of the penalty. I want to go to you, Ian. When should that have been a goal? Was it the penalty or was it the own goal bundling in?
I saw some still screenshots of when apparently Kahanoglu fouled someone. I think it was Danilo, and then because he fouled Danilo, that rebounded into someone else, and then it was an own goal. So the fact that the leg ran into the box was actually kind of lucky for us to retake it. All in all, I'm surprised that it happened. I can't remember the last time I've seen a penalty callback like that. For someone getting too quickly into the box, I don't think it's happened in recent years.
Yeah.
Even with VAR, I can't remember the last time it happened in Serie A. So great, sure, cool. More of that, please. No, but I can't believe we out Allegri. I think that's a feat that not many people have been able to accomplish.
Uh-huh.
Since he just seems to be able to get away with everything, playing terrible terrorism football, and then grinding out the 1 or 2 nil win. So I think that was a big positive for us, even if we didn't actually score from open play yet again. Um, but I just want to say the last 2 clean sheets we had, Danilo D'Ambrosio was playing, so take that as you want to.
Fair.
Samir Handanovic with another clean sheet. I'm undefeated. I'm undefeated. Perfect day for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, this was a very good weekend for Ian. As you can see, Dombrosio played very great, and Handanovic was he didn't concede. Let's just say he didn't concede, because it's not like he wasn't trying to concede, because we saw that he tried his best to give Cellini a goal or something. I don't know what they got going on with that ball, but yeah, Ian, I wanted to piggyback off what you were saying. That penalty, it was, at the end of the day, it was the best. I mean, the correct decision for us for it to be retaken, because Hakan, he didn't hit it well the first time, and that was a good block by Chesney. And looking at the replay, he did foul the Juve player. So um, had it not been for Delit clearly being into the box way earlier than he should have been, um, Juve fans would have had a gripe to say that, okay, we felt hard done by, but the rules are rules. I mean, we have plenty of pictures. It's not even debatable that Delict was in the box early, and in those situations, you do a retake. So that's what happened. We had the goal, but furthermore, I wanted to credit Barella, because I feel like Barella had a lot to do with us getting that retake, because we saw most players after the referee pretty much waved off the goal. Most players went back to their positions, Skriniar included. But we saw Barella was there battling. He's in the referee's ear. Quadrado's trying to get him away, is to pretty much like diffuse the situation. He's not letting go. He's even waving over Skriniar like, yo, what's going on? What's going on? Come talk to the referee. And then eventually we ended up getting that. So that's credit to Barella. And that's something that I would like for most of our, well, all of our guys to do, because Juve players, I don't know if it's like something that they teach them their first day at the club, but any little possible call, they're gonna be in the ref's ear. They're gonna fight for it, and then they're not gonna let go. Our guys tend to let go more often than not. So I was happy to see Barella hold on to that, and we got rewarded for it.
Yeah, it was one of the rare cases of an Italian ref getting it right on the first try, I believe. Well, on the second try. We'll say second try. But yeah, I thought VAR intervened very well. You could tell Irati was in his ear, listening to his assistant. So it
Mhm.
was good refereeing. I'll give him some credit for once. But speaking of Juve players, trying to hold on to every little thing. I mean, we saw just Delict get brushed in the face. We saw or someone else that just got brushed in the face, just barely rolling around
Locatelli.
trying to get penalties. Yeah, I mean Locatelli also got kicked in the face and then hurt his knee trying to get a red card going into D'Ambrosio. So I mean he had his own 30 minutes of madness. Lautaro also could have had a red in the first like 90 seconds. That was about as much as we saw of him the whole match. Future Hendricks down here's got some stats. He says Dzeko won 1 of 6 ground duels, 1 of 7 in the air, and Lautaro had 8 touches the whole game. Um,
Yeah, I mean, those are stats. Those stats are very, very intriguing to me, because that's the only thing that I keep telling myself every time we're saying, okay, why is Zeko constantly starting? Why does Inzaghi always choose to take off Lotaro or whoever's partner in Zeko when he wants to make a change? Usually I try to say, like, okay, we got this big guy, big target. He's going to win balls in the air for us. He's going to help us. maintain possession more or less. But if you're losing all your aerial jewels, and we already know how he moves on the pitch, at this point it's like playing with a man down, especially with the intensity that Juve had. Both of our strikers were very disappointing again, yet again. And I think since we didn't speak about Fiorentina, I think Fiorentina was a very, very clear indicator that they're just not on the same wavelength. You saw Zeko passing balls when Lautaro was making the run over there. You saw Lautaro making a run, expecting the ball, and Zeko's not passing it. So yeah, they're not on the same page. They haven't been all year, and I thought it was going to be one of those situations that you know you test some time and eventually it clicks. But we're almost at the end of the season now, and if anything, it's gotten worse as the year has gone on. Uh, so yeah, that's where I'm at. Or strikers are horrible. But then again, I saw a little number 10 playing for Juve, and I saw some rumors linking us to him as well. I could see exactly where he would fit and how he would solve some of the issues, the staticness. I don't know if that's a
Yeah.
word of our strikers, because they do not move. They are one trick ponies. Whereas Dybala was all over the place, and we had to have guys shadowing him, So that's the kind of attention I want our strikers to bring, and that's gonna open up for everybody else.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. It's something we've talked about this whole season at this point. We saw some indicators early that maybe Dzeko and Lautaro could work, but it really was, the one trick pony thing. It was, Dzeko sometimes gets the knockdown, sometimes finds Lautaro, and it's more often not than yes. And so, I mean, it's not something you can survive with a whole season. It's part of the reason we're where we're at right now. I think Dzeko would be better off playing with wingers. For some reason, like the way he looks wide for passes to bring guys in is different than trying to play something straight through to another on rushing striker. I don't know. Maybe that's he's used to
Good
being a
point.
lone striker from his Roma days. I don't know. It just doesn't work. And
Mhm.
if we could just find someone to partner Lautaro, I think he would get out of this stretch where he's scored 4 goals since December, and all of them have been against Salernitana. So it's desolate out here. I don't even remember guys like Eder going this long without goals when they were playing. Like it's getting like Gabby goal levels of bad. I
I
hate that.
mean,
I don't want to
no,
be
no,
over
I can.
dramatic, but goodness, this like run since what November has been desolate.
I mean, Gabigol was never given the opportunity to stank up the place like Lotaro is. To be honest, I mean, the kid probably he got that season. He got 2 starts and he scored in one of the starts. And then after that, I mean, of course,
Against
he had
Bologna,
everything else going
the
on.
winner.
Yeah, of course, he
Yeah.
had other stuff going on. But yeah, Lotaro, man, like I know we it was probably 10 episodes behind where I was officially off of him, and that hasn't changed. He scored a hat trick after that, and he scored against Liverpool, but at the end of the day, he regresses to the mean. At the end of the day, when you're looking at a player, when you want to judge a player, especially when we've had the opportunity, we've had Lotaro at the club for 4 years now, so we've seen a lot of him. Let's not look at his highs or at his lows. Look at the mean. So at the end of the day, now we know what Lotaro is, and we should do better. If it's true that Arsenal are willing to pay 70 mil for him or Atletico, let's take that and run and bring in Dybala. I would actually keep Correa if I'm selling Lotaro. I'm keeping Correa because Correa brings the pace and stuff like that. Gets Kamaka, and I would hopefully bring somebody else and probably a Jonathan David or something like that. Hopefully, but that's the plan because I'm off the Lotaro thing right now.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know what's happened, to, harp on this a little more as if we haven't enough. Like I remember when he
Mhm.
first came in, I mean the kid on his first like semi-competitive game against Atletico just scores
Yeah.
like a scissor kick out of nowhere. Like this guy
Mhm.
used to be spontaneous. He used to, pop up with the crazy things like that. Now it's just
Yeah.
he's even scared to get on the ball and go 10 feet ahead of him. It's
Yeah.
rough.
And that's the reason why I know I want to shout out Nick on Twitter. I'm always arguing him back and forth because he says that a lot. He knows that from the beginning. He said that Lotaro is a guy that he always finishes on either the first touch or 2 touches. He's not a guy that's gonna take his time, pick a spot and stuff like that. But me, I guess the way he hit the scene with that Atletico volley, I thought that the sky was the limit for this kid. He was going to continue to improve from season to season to season to season, but it's stagnated for the last year or so. So it's just unfortunate. I had expectations for him, but I'll admit that a lot of people did see that, okay, he's never going to be this 20 goal striker that we want or that we need. I'm finally admitting that now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking of him, he won't be available for next match because of the yellow card. So, I mean, maybe it's a chance for Correa to get his run in the team here late in the season. Now that he's fit, you know,
Hmm.
he's been on the bench for a few matches now. He's come in. I thought he offered more than either of the starters did in his cameo against Juve. Um, he just looks a little rusty still, or maybe that's just him. You know, we haven't seen enough of him. Maybe that's just what Correa looks like now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I think this is an interesting chance for him to start to get a run in the team late in the season. You know, it's a little bit of a drop off in competition quality. So hopefully, you know, I mean, it's Verona again. He burst on the scene, scored his brace against Verona. So I mean, maybe we get something like that again. Ian, what do you think? Would you start him with Dzeko or would you start him with Sanchez?
Sanchez, just for the fact that Jacko seems to be, I don't know what's wrong with Jacko, but like he's just I don't want to touch on him because I love him. I love all my Balkan players in Inter, usually. But like, oh, this man is just so frustrating to watch because either he tries to do too much by dropping too deep and trying to play make too much, and not actually attacking, or he tries to attack too much and then just completely fumbles everything. So yeah, just give Sanchez a run. Just give, I don't know, call someone from the Primavera up. At this point, I mean, I really don't know why we got rid of Satriano. He keeps scoring over in France. Esposito seems to be scoring over in Switzerland. And here we are with aging, injured, inconsistent strikers. All
Yeah,
four of them.
yeah, I think Smiley has an interesting point though here. He says our best match was with Dzeko and Correa up front against Roma. I do remember they started off really well. I think Correa picked up the first of his many injuries at that point. But yeah, I mean that was a game that we absolutely dismantled Roma. I mean they didn't give too much against us in the second match in the Copa either.
Hmm.
I know that's like the biggest matchup we have left too, but yeah, to me, everything's just lining up. This should be a run for Correa in the team. Even if it's just to raise his value for a swap with Jonathan David, like I've seen in the news. It's been a little while now since I've seen it, but maybe that's a little wishful thinking. But yeah, where do we even go from here? We got Verona next. You know, that's a team that on their day they can give you a lot of trouble. I think
Hmm.
they've given us trouble before. Quite a few times before. Ian, do you have some stats?
I
I
have
see.
a
I see.
graphic that
I see. You have
Brady posted.
inserted. You have inserted a graphic.
Do I need to make
Okay.
it bigger?
This
Here.
remaining fixtures.
Yeah, this is remaining fixtures and who plays who and what the games are in common for the top three. I also have the league table on the other one. Don't worry. But like, it's hello. Other than that, like, does Milan have the most difficult fixtures of them all, and us the easiest? I'd say so.
Yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
I'd have to agree. Yeah. Seeing that. I mean, the Napoli and Milan both have Torino, Fiorentina, Sassuolo, and now the like draw machine of Genoa. That's a pretty tough run. And then you on top of that you have Lazio and Atalanta, and Atalanta's gonna hopefully be trying to push for that top four spot still. So they'll
Hmm.
still have a reason to be competitive. Genoa is trying to scrape away from relegation. They'll still try to be competitive. But then on the flip side, I mean, we're facing Cagliari, Sampdoria. I mean, these are teams that are still trying to battle relegation too, and those relegation teams are some of the scarier ones around this time of year. As we saw Empoli 2018, you don't want to mess with that too much, or 2019, whichever year it was. But yeah, just on paper, Milan have the toughest schedule. They've already drawn to Bologna. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, not a good result. Napoli, I have a tough time seeing where Napoli drops points either, though. To be honest.
Really, I mean, I'm looking at Fiorentina. They got Roma. They got Fiorentina this weekend, followed by Roma, and then they also have to see Torino and Sassuolo. Those are the four matches that I would expect them to drop points, but I would not discount Empoli either. So whereas when we look at our schedule, for example, um, Verona is going to be a tough match. Roma is going to be a tough match, but everything else, bro, it's like I cannot accept anything other than 3 points. There's no excuse. I was here making excuses for when we tied against Torino, and I was on Twitter making excuses for when we tied Fiorentina, because those teams to me are respectable teams, and we played them at the right time for them, But when I'm looking at my schedule right now, other than Roma, given the situation being where it is, we need to put our grinta on, and we should be able to beat all these teams. We should beat them, But we all know how it works around this time of the year. It's no longer about what your team looks like or what your players are. It's like you have to be able to dig deeper and find something extra in you to be able to win those matches. And we saw it yesterday. Well, not yesterday was, I guess, the culmination of it, but Milan, for example, they've been laboring for the past four matches. They've been winning 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, lucky goal here, lucky goal there. But their attack has stagnated. And the same thing with us. It's gonna be the same thing at the end of the end for the ending stretch. Everybody's gonna have to be able to find out a way to win. It's more often than not, it's not gonna be pretty, but it's gonna be a show of heart and a show of professionalism. And that's why I'm comfortable that we should have it, because we're the champions and we still have guys in the squad that won this shit last season. So we know what it takes, and we know what we need to do.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good. And Sean has a good point here. He says we have the three tiebreakers over Napoli, so if we're level on points, we're still ahead. So those
Hmm.
that win at home against Napoli, that 3-2, just stands even bigger at that point.
Yeah,
But
but Milan got it against us though, right?
yeah, Milan has it against us. I see Milan dropping more points than Napoli. If we can just, stay in step with Napoli, we know Spalletti is, also prone to his own like inexplicable drop offs, at any
Yeah.
given time. So it could happen. They could drop points. But the biggest thing is, I mean, I would say the destiny's back in our own hands, because there's no way Milan goes through that run with this team that they have right now perfectly. Like, Giroud had his little scoring run from about the Derby to I guess about March. I think he got all the goals he's going to get in this season. Zlatan, just I don't think he has it anymore. I think he's looking towards retirement. Um, Leal's not scoring like he was. Milan just their attack is doing what our attack did, starting in about the Derby time. Really stagnating. It is fair to say about us though. I mean, it still took a retaken penalty from Hakan to score against Juve. So, I mean, our scoring woes aren't solved yet. I mean, it's the type of match, it's the type of win where you do get the win back in your sails like Milan did with the Derby that we lost and they won. That sent us on this skid that sent them to the top of the table. So
Good
if
shout. Good shout.
if we can, channel that win, anything's possible, but we're gonna have to start scoring again. Simple as that.
I saw a tweet. I think it was from Sia. Siavush Falafel, however you pronounce it. Sorry, Sia. Um,
He
I
just said
think
that because he's the resident Handanovic hater and you're the Handanovic
no,
diehard.
no, of course not.
All right, well, I'll let you get to what you
But
gotta get to.
it was before Derby. Um, Milan were, I think, like 40%, um, 40% likely to
Oh,
win
I
the
know what you're
league.
talking about. It's on
Yeah.
442 or I think, yeah, 442 Serie A probabilities. It's
All
a
right. Yeah,
it's a
I have it.
number.
I have it.
He's
If
trying
you
to
can pull
remember
it up,
the.
if you can
Yeah,
pull
I
up
can
my
blow
phone.
it up. I was just trying to remember the platform
Yeah.
that he got these from.
Yeah.
It's
So
not the
this is before the
biggest.
game, before the Bologna game.
It's making me
Game.
feel blind.
My bad.
No, you're good. You're good.
Milan were 39% likely to win the league. Then it was us with 35 and Napoli with 26. After the draw, meaning 67 points for Milan, We're most likely to win the league with 44 points. Napoli with 44%. Napoli with 29%, and Milan with 27%. I find this very interesting.
Okay, I
I'll put
found it. It's,
I'll,
it's on 538.com. I knew it was somewhere like that.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, while you guys are still looking for it, I just wanted to chat on that real quick. We've said this since I think since we last played Milan. It's like their game plan
Anyone
seems to
else who
be
wants to look at?
yeah,
Sorry, I'm
their game
typing
plan
in the
seems to be
thing.
you're fine. Their game plan seems to be just let Leao and Theo Hernandez freestyle on that left. You know, and you have Giroud in there. Giroud, he's a finisher. He's a poacher. He's not a guy that's really gonna create anything for you. Raheem Diaz, who had all of Milan Twitter twerking for the beginning of the season, he's gone missing since December. So that's why they've struggled when you look at them. But you got to give them credit because right now, still, if we were to stop right now, they would be the winners. So they've done better than us. But when you're projecting, I think we'll be fine. I expect if after watching them yesterday, I can't wait to see them versus Atalanta versus who else they're playing, Lazio versus Sassuolo, who always shows up against them as well. So yeah, they're definitely gonna leak more points than Napoli do. So that's why I think I'll agree with that. That probably we should be the favorites right now, and Napoli behind us.
Yeah, and Milan have Sassuolo last match day of the season, I believe.
Hmm.
Also Fiorentina have Juventus. That one I just have marked in my head because of the
Yeah.
Vlahovic situation. So I mean, there's going to be some exciting stuff going down to the wire. Who was
What
it?
do
Was
you
it
guys think of,
Sean?
of the battle between Vlahovic and Skriniar? You guys didn't say much about that.
Oh, I mean, what is there to say? Skriniar went home and pulled Vlahovic out of his pocket, put him on his nightstand, and went to bed. I mean, it was a monstrous performance. That's the second guy
Yeah,
that I've seen that has figured out Vlahovic. Skriniar, and then of course Bremer has done it like
Bremer.
twice now.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'll even say that Bremer's done even a better job because with strikers, a defender could be pocketing you all night, and if you manage to get one goal, no matter how you do get that goal, you've won that matchup. But I remember very vividly that one time that he turned Skriniar like an amateur, and then he had that one right-footed shot. That the kid showed you his class there, man. He's deadly. He's a deadly
yeah,
kid, and unfortunately, he's very left-footed. That's probably why he couldn't even make the put that on target. But you don't see Skriniar get spun like that ever, you know. So credit to him. The kid is good, but I'm glad he's starting to see who's the boss. We hopefully we get Bremer, so we're gonna have two of his daddies on our team. So that's a guy that we'll never have to worry about.
yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and Skriniar to me has shown in this run now that DeVry has been out. He's shown that I would say he's still got what a good 5 years that he can play on the right side of a back three. And then, as he starts to age, doing something like Chiellini, moving to the middle of that back three, and he could really have a really long career staying in that position. Because he's
Staying at
mastered it
Inter as well.
already. Yeah, at Inter for that long. Oh man, yeah,
some
I'm
swag.
excited. I'm excited for the future with Skriniar. Still, he's coming into his prime, and I'm still looking at like his age 30 something seasons and being like, this guy could still be class at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, what is there to say about him? That's the best move Inter have made in a long time. Let's see. Do we have any interesting comments?
Oh yeah, let's kind of comments before I gotta
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. I know you got to get out of here, Dave. We caught you on your
Mhm.
lunch break. Let's see. Future Hendrick says we won without strikers, and he feels bad for Inzaghi sometimes. Um, fair, yeah. I do wonder. I do hope that the strikers figure it out. Whether it's the two that usually
Yeah,
start, whether it's Correa coming in. I mean,
yeah,
Caicedo's even on the bench. I forgot that guy even existed. I don't know
bro.
why did he come in.
and and he had the gall to tweet "Great victory, guys" and all that stuff, something like that. And I think somebody retweeted him like, "Bro, we can't even see you in the picture, bro. We forgot you were on the team." That's one of those guys that I don't know, man. the two guys that Inzaghi insisted on, they've been major flops. I guess Korea is understandable because Korea was never a plan A or a plan B. We got Korea first because Atalanta were asking 40 mil for 31-year-old Zapata, and then Turan was gonna be your plan B, and he got hurt. So Korea was a plan C. So even if he is struggling right now, he's been a flop for us. Let's be honest. Regardless of his two doubles, he's been a flop at Inter so far. Regardless of that, I guess I have to understand that he wasn't Inzaghi's first choice. But Caicedo, I don't know, man. I don't know. That guy, he made what, two cameo performances and nothing, So this is a guy that's pretty much eating up wages. That's another Kolarov we have on the team. That's how I see Caicedo. But more on Inzaghi. A lot of people have been mentioning, okay, we miss Conte. You know, not recently since we've just won at Juve, but during the international break, there was even a couple articles coming out saying that he might come back to Inter because he's not happy at Spurs, blah blah blah, and we saw everybody twerking for that. But people are not remembering the matches where Lukaku pretty much grabbed us and carried us to the finish line. And that's what we need right now. Where the team, as a team, we're laboring. We can't create nothing. We can't. The system is not working. You know. But we have what at least. I mean, I don't have them on top of my head, but I can name next pod. I can name at least 5 matches that we didn't deserve to win last year that Lukaku won for us single handedly. So we don't have that this season. Inzaghi doesn't have that, so it's not fair to judge Inzaghi, compare him to Conte. When Conte had Hakimi, the best right wing back in the world, and Lukaku, who was one of the best strikers in the world last year. So just I'm still giving Inzaghi a lot of praise and a lot of understanding because he doesn't have those weapons.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing the best with a bad situation. I mean, going into the season, I think if you would have told every Inter fan that we would be in the beginning of April, we would be it'd be 4 points off the top with a game in hand. The easier run to the end of the season, I think every Inter fan would have taken that. Like day after Lukaku left, I think everyone, if you would have given them this situation right now, I think everyone would have signed up for it. So I mean,
Yeah.
it really is the best out of a bad situation. Like Mr. Jesus, whatever, however you pronounce it. I am sorry. Said nothing wrong with winning bad or playing bad and winning versus a big club. I think that's very true.
Hmm.
We'll remember the result, not the performance.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and that's what matters. Um, Sean here says Vlahovic and Delict surviving egregious brushes is so impressive. Wish we had players as tough as them. Yeah, man. A little brush in the face, he could have lost an eye. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then we saw the delay, and then he looked to see who hit him, and then like, oh my god, man, not even good acting, bad acting.
Bad acting. Yeah, I mean, but I mean, what else do you expect from Juventus late? I saw Milan going for a little bit of that yesterday. Every
Yep,
time they
yep.
would shoot, they would throw their hands up asking for a handball against a Bologna player, even though like arms behind their back, like it's hitting like their hips, and they're like, "Oh, handball." Uh, I don't know. You make of that what you guys will about those two teams, but uh, I think that is what it is. Uncle Sharma in the house. What's up, man? Says Figo's not here, so he's got to step in and demand the Skriniar shirt from Dave and the Enter hat from Ian. You see, this is why I don't put anything. I don't put anything
Can I
nice in here
interest you in a
anymore.
rubber ducky instead?
I don't put anything nice in these shots anymore. Like I got this old ass like USL shirt, like nothing to be found because they're taking
Mikey
it.
can't shine no more because of Figo. Look what happened, man. The
He
guy
took my
can't be
whole
himself no
house,
more.
bro. He took my whole
That's
house.
crazy.
Oh my god.
Check that
Do.
last comment from Future.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I hit Sharma's. Yeah. Conte flopped at Inter his first year. No last 16 in UCL or any cup. I mean, yeah, that was a big talking point that season. I mean, it was also the COVID season, so it wasn't the easiest season to get anything done. But I would argue that I mean, our Scudetto chances that season pretty much did die right before the COVID break because we went to Turin and played like the most pedestrian match I think I had seen from that Inter. I mean, just
Yep.
standing there for like 90 minutes, and that was pretty much the end of our Scudetto hopes. Even though we ended the season 1 point back. I mean, that
Hmm.
was very generous for that season.
Yeah, a lot of people forgot what it looked like under Conte first year. So yeah, I'm glad Future brought that up. A very very good point. But I'm gonna have to jet, fellas. It's been a pleasure. I had to take a break. I'm on my lunch break right now. I had to take a break to come mess with you guys. It's been forever. Um, I'll watch the rest of the episode. I'll be in the comments if I can. And for the side Inter for the next game. And thank you guys for coming to join us in the comments as always, guys.
Yeah, thanks for making some time. Yeah, we'll see you for the next one. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Looking
see ya.
forward to it, man. I guess it'll be me and Ian to finish it out. Uncle Sharma, the follow up to all of that, he said Conte regularly got slapped up by Sarri and Pirlo's Juve. I mean, he did. He did beat Pirlo's Juve once, but lost the Copa tie, and it was a very, very ugly one. I mean, that was where I hate to say it, but Handanovic had that bad mistake with Bastoni. But also, I mean, that could have. Yeah, there was also there were two legs to that, so that was pretty ugly. Um,
I think the trade-off with Conte was that you'd expect him to grind out the smaller games that now we lost with Inzaghi. So it's kind of a trade-off. Okay, yeah, you lose the bigger ones, but um, I don't think we would have lost against the Swallow with Conte. I don't think we would have drawn as many games, like especially the last two with Fiorentina and Torino. With Conte, just because I don't know, he brought some out in the players to really push us over the edge, over the limit. That somehow Inzaghi hasn't been able to.
but that's also, to me, that's where Conte had his, trump card on everyone. Was he had Lukaku, who is bigger than any center back outside of the top four. He can just bowl one of them over and get a goal when he needs to out of the blue. I remember early in a lot of matches against those small teams, like one of them would go hard into the back of Lukaku, get a yellow card, and then you'd be like, "Oh, that guy's on a yellow. He can't go at Lukaku anymore." And then it's just 85 minutes of him going at that one defender, and it worked
Oh
to
yeah.
perfect way. I mean, it's, yeah, like Future says, yeah, it is hard to compare because the squads are so different. The club is in a very different standing right now. Um, but I do think there is, still room for upward growth. I think if we stick with Inzaghi, it can still get better. I know there was a lot of Inzaghi out going around. I know a lot of people weren't happy. There was some concern because they stopped contract negotiations for an extension, even though Inzaghi came out and said that that was him, that he wanted to focus on the team in this time, which is, it's respectable. And Beppe Marotta, of course, gave him the vote of confidence before the last match. And I think he earned himself some time with the Juve win anyway. Um, but yeah, where do you see us going, even the rest of the season into next? What would you like to see the most? I'll go a transfer question.
What would I like to see the most? Oof. I mean, just reading from the timeline all day, every day, Inter will have to sell another big player this summer. Inter will have to sell two big players this summer. It's just you can't really expect much from that. We saw how Lukaku and Hakimi being sold affected us. Had to bring in Dzeko, who was great at the start. Let's not forget that. Let's not take anything away from him. But now has been worn out, used. He just like used every single week. He's what 36, 37 years old. He was not meant to be that. Um, it's hard to predict, really. I don't know if we do decide to sell the Rye, go for Bremer. I think that would be an okay trade off. Personally, I don't know. It's been so long since we've seen the Rye play. At least for me, it's been over 3 weeks, so I'm not
Yeah,
not really sure what. I can't really like remember straight what it was playing with him, but I do remember him being a little shaky. But who knows? Um, what would I most like to see? An upgrade in attack, obviously. I think Skamaka is a player that most of the fan base wants, and most of the other fan bases want as well. So I think it's going to be a battle for him this summer. Raspadori as well. Um, I think the Fratesi hype has died down a bit, but we also need that backup in the midfield. If we let Vidal leave, if we let Vecino leave, we need those bench players to at least do a respectable replacement substitution. It's such a drastic drop in quality. Like the three midfielders that we're playing with now, great, cool, no problems with all. The substitutions, I don't know.
Yeah,
There could be work.
I guess where I was trying to lead you, the question that brings the most clicks. Do you believe the Lukaku? Are you believing any of that? Are you buying any of the he wants to come back? Oh, Inter are looking to take him, or are you just are you believing that's media talk?
I think that's mostly media talk. Just from
Yeah, I
that one
agree.
meme of Lukaku always wanting to talk about the Inter. I don't know.
He's like
I think it all.
international break. I enjoyed my time at Inter.
Interstellar, great movie. Haven't told you about my time at Inter.
Yeah,
I think it also has to do a lot with what Chelsea are going to do this summer. Will they sell the club? Will Abramovich somehow stay there? Will I don't know who sell it to who, buy it from who? I don't know what's gonna happen with them. They seem to be a mess.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. I want to look at the run of matches here. So it's Verona Spezia, the second leg of the semifinal, and Roma in the next 15 days, the next 2 weeks. I think I have my math right. Maybe it's
What
a
was
little
that?
longer than
Four
that,
games?
but
Three games?
one, two, three, 4 games from Verona to Roma from the 9th to the 24th.
Mhm.
So basically the rest of the month of April. I mean, there's also the Bologna makeup if that doesn't get decided. Um, yeah, do you see any room for Inter to be able to drop points there, or is this a case of you have to win out? Coppa Italia be damned.
I'm just looking at the games right now. So in the last 20 games, Inter played against Verona, 16 wins for Inter, 4 draws, 0 for Verona. Inter undefeated against Spezia in the 3 games so far. I don't know what to think of the Coppa Italia match. What do you think will happen?
Well, I mean, if neither team wants to score, it's going to be interesting. I mean, it depends on who finds their shooting boots between now and then. I mean, Inter don't seem to be doing it, but we have yet to see what will come, what kind of momentum or anything like that will come from this win. I think the next couple of matches would be a good indicator if that is something that really put the wins back in the sails of the team, or if it was just a freak result. Which I mean, we all hope it isn't. We all hope it is what it could be with being that major turning point. That's the match you go back and you look at the pictures from and you see celebrations and you're like, yeah, that's where it changed. I mean, we've said that a lot this season. We've been like, this is where it changes. This is where you figure it out. This is where we go on this run. So, these next 2 matches will be a really good indicator if, this is just a flash in the pan of, oh, well, temporarily we're favorites back again for the Scudetto, or if this is actually going to be a serious title run.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the only 2 games I'm worried about until the rest of the season in the league are Roma, who have been, I think, undefeated in 10 games, winning 6, something like that. So Mourinho put up quite a quiet run. I think they're fifth now, gunning for fourth
Yeah,
somehow, or
5 points
sixth.
off of Juve in fifth.
Not impossible if you ask me. And the other game I'm worried about is Cagliari, just because it's an away game, second to last game. Cagliari away is always a difficult fixture. Like they beat us 4 times and drew 5, so out of
Yeah,
the 20 games we played.
I kind of like where that one's at. I like that that's second from the last of the season because they're currently in 17th, but they're already 3 points ahead of Venezia with a game in hand. So they could be 6 clear of the drop. I don't know who their game in hand is against, but no. Okay, wait. Venezia have the game in hand. I had that totally wrong. This is not good. um, but yeah, I mean, I think Cagliari could really climb out of there. They could have some distance between them and 18th, and if they get that, maybe a match or two before, like mathematically secure their place in Serie A for next season. I think that's a match where they will really let off at that point and just like cruise to the rest of the season because what else would they have to play for? Um, yeah, that's what I think of that one.
All I know is that they're still trying to rip us off. I think they want like how much? I think they want to pay 4 mil for Dalbert
I
or
didn't think
something
they
like
wouldn't
that.
pay anything.
Yeah, or even that. Like, come on, we gave you Nangolan.
Yeah, we've been
You
their
wanted.
charity shop for years. Like, is this all? Was this all from the Barella deal? Did like Beppe just hand them like, here, you can just have this coupon for whatever you want?
It's like, come on, like, and they even want, what was it, 20 to 30 for Hernandez, who had
Yeah,
somehow stayed. It's just like, what do these guys have over us to demand these sort of things?
yeah, and
You know?
like they're in 17th. Like, beggars can't be choosers. Come on now.
Well,
Looking at the
apparently, if
bottom
you're
of the
Cagliari, you
table,
can.
do from that graphic you had earlier, were either team, either Napoli or Milan, did they have Salernitana left? I know Milan don't. Do Napoli have
Um,
Salernitana left? Because they have 2 games in hand and a bit of a shot at climbing out of the bottom.
I'm just opening up the picture back if you want to put on the screen. I'll
I don't
share
think
it
they
for.
do.
Um, Hold on. Safari, there we go. Right, so Brady and what am I? All right, there we go. Salernitana, no one plays against them.
Ah, fuck. Okay. Yeah. The closest teams to the bottom are Cagliari
Where's Spezia?
and Spezia.
Spezia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spezia are they're on 37 points. I think they're not on 37. I was reading the predicted points. They are on 32 points. Yeah, they're pretty much safe, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
What about
Spezia and
Empoli?
Sampdoria
Empoli,
are starting to get Empoli are even higher on 33. So
really?
anything from about, I would say, Bologna, Udinese, 12, 13, down to 16 with Sampdoria, they're all pretty much safe. They're starting to get into that pack where you have nothing left to play for and you're just
Mm,
cruising to the end of the season. So those would be, well, let me pull that back up. Yeah, those will be matches that I would say favor Inter because we have a lot of those teams.
true, yeah, true. Because also from these teams that I see on the graphic now, the ones playing for Europa spots are Roma, Lazio, Atalanta. So all the teams Milan plays, Napoli plays Roma. Like, and other than that, it's just a mid-table shuffle, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting to see how. No, we obviously know from experience what Pioli and Spalletti are like during crutch moments of the season.
Well, I
I
mean,
think,
yeah, Pioli's
yeah,
already started showing his colors. I mean, last match, the Bologna match, I mean, that was just the smallest bit of pressure from Inter and I guess Napoli too, because they beat Atalanta. But that was the smallest amount of pressure from those two teams, and they couldn't score against Bologna.
can I just show you this? I saw that this stat somewhere, and I thought it was hilarious. Milan had statistics. All right, 33 total shots, which is the most since Opta started recording stats from 2005
Wow.
without scoring a goal. They
That looks
truly
like
shit.
something we would have done like a few weeks ago.
This is like a game of Football Manager at this point. 33 shots, 7 on target, 0 goals. Like, come on.
Yeah,
And
that's
a team like
tragic.
Milan, who, all right, they haven't really scored that much in recent times, too, against Salernitana. But, like, with their ability to just score out of nowhere, you know, we saw it with Giroud multiple times. Like, Leao somehow always came up with a goal whenever I looked him up. Even Rebic did something. You know, it's interesting to see that Pioli is showing his true colors now.
Yeah, I just don't think that team has what it takes. I think Napoli have a little bit more of what it takes. Inter, by default should have more because just won a Scudetto. But I guess we'll see. I'm more positive than I was, a few weeks ago. I'll give it that. I don't want to say that Inter are the favorites right now, but it's more favorable than it was. I'll leave it at that for my take on it.
Yeah,
Um,
like before the international break, I think most of us would be content with finishing second. I won't say content, but like the way the season was going, most of us would predict it for Inter to finish second. You know, it just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't working. And this win against Inter, I don't want to use the phrase turning point, but it could be. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most cliched, football things out there, calling something the turning point. We do it plenty, but sometimes it is true. It's a cliche for a reason. But let's see what some of the comments wanted us to talk about. I know you commissioned them for some questions. Let's see. Mattia says, which striker would be the best fit in Inzaghi's team and tactics? That one's hard for me. I feel like we talk about Skamaka a lot. Um, but then we look at a team like his Inzaghi's Lazio, and I mean, Immobile wasn't a Skamaka type. He was playing Correa with him. He was playing Luis Alberto behind him. I don't think there's a perfect complement to the way Inzaghi wants to play. I just think there are things that can help this team situationally, just on the bigger picture rather than just fitting straight into some tactics. Like, I feel like we need someone like Skamaka because he can hold the ball up and, he can get those shots out of nothing sometimes. I think that's a little bit bigger than, what Inzaghi would want to do. I don't see any of the strikers on the market right now being that perfect fit, but I just see like Skamaka being a better fit. I think Raspadori is a better fit. I'm not totally sold on Dybala because he could, just be the next injury prone striker at this club, which, we don't need at this point. It's very, I don't know, it's tough. I just think it's going to be a matter of where you can find a couple more goals. I don't think it's going to be about like Conte going out and asking, "This is the perfect striker for my system. Go out and get him." I don't think we're going to see anything like that. So yeah, I don't think there's really a perfect fit for an Inzaghi team, but there are just better fits than what we have right now.
Yeah, because Inzaghi, I, I won't say I know for a fact that's what happened, but he just seemed to be able to make do with what he's got. Since Lazio obviously didn't spend loads since he came in, I think on strikers and things like that. Like
Yeah, I mean they
he
got
still
him
played with
what?
Caicedo,
Escalante, Caicedo,
Muriqi,
the yes,
the
yes.
Albanian.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's been a mess for them at striker. I mean, he's getting more, I will say he's getting a little bit more support at Inter transfer wise, but I'm not sure how much more because of the financial situation at the moment.
Mm.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for him at a point because I'm like, you have a pretty good setup, but you've never been handed all the best players for it. And I think as long as he's at Inter, or as long as the market's just as steep as it is, it's going to be hard for him to get that perfect striker without just leaving to a club that by default has it.
Or what I've seen in recent weeks as well, as long as Sunning stays at the club. What do you think about that? You think they'll sell if this whole Super League thing falls into water again because the hype died down a bit since they got announced again?
I don't know. I think Suning. I think they're gonna keep the club. I saw that the oak tree loan that everyone has been doomsdaying about was taken out on Suning's accounts instead of Inter's accounts. So whatever happens there doesn't go against the club. Um, at least on paper it doesn't. There are ways it could, but I've never been the biggest hater of Suning as an owner the way that some people are. Um, I just don't see it because who else would put more into this team than Suning would? I don't see another owner that's going to do what Suning did early or like midway through their ownership when they were getting, breaking transfer records for Barella, for Lukaku, going out and getting Hakimi out of nowhere. I wouldn't see that happening with any other owner. Even if it means, the difficulties that the club and the owner have come under, I feel like that's very situational and is not it's not the goal of Suning to have a team that they have to operate like this. So yeah, I kind of hope honestly that they stay at the club. Everything stabilizes and they can finally get back to what the plan was. I know a lot of people have a problem because they don't they're not the most communicative, if that's a
Sure.
word. I don't know, but
Let's go with that.
they're not the they don't let their business be known very much. And I feel like some people don't like that. They want a sense of transparency that I feel like an owner of that size just can't give. So maybe it's just because also I'm stuck with a lot of American sport franchises, which are franchises, not clubs. There's a difference, and yeah, I'm overall still happy with Suning. I don't think it's their issue.
See, you know what I think would be interesting to see? Not saying that I want to see it, but what would be interesting? Oily with his Saudi Arabian propaganda, just running wild.
It,
Just
but
bring in an oil man from
But
the
PIF
Saudis.
has, yeah, I know that PIF, every couple of weeks, a bored journalist that is on the fringes of media that needs some clicks will be like, done deal, enter PIF. And, no one's biting on it anymore. And I don't think it's a real thing.
Thomas
I
is biting
think,
on it, I think, a little bit.
well, he's getting his clicks for enter extra. So yeah, I don't see a Saudi oil owner coming in trying to make us the next PSG or something like that. I don't see it. I think we got the best we were gonna get, and it's just a case of riding that out. I
True,
mean,
yeah,
what do you
true.
think though?
I don't know. I think Sunning, as much as I like to shit on them, have done a great job since coming in and in these unprecedented times with the pandemic and the way that our revenue stream has been impacted with stadium closures and everything. I think they've still done a great job. Just yeah, the only thing that I would like more of is communication. You know, uh, reassurance. You know, more statements from the club. You see, prem teams putting out statements for everything. Marcus Rashford had a shit this morning. Comunicado oficial from Real Madrid. You know, it's just all of that. You know, just give us something. You know, Brozovic was his contract renewal was what was it, delayed for 2 months, I think. Like the
He had to get
actual
his
announcement
crypto in
of it.
line first too.
Crypto browser, yeah. You know, so that's the thing that's like really frustrating, just because you don't know as a fan what the future of the club is, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but to
Um,
get to the original question, if I may, when Mattia Jovic said which striker would be best to fit, um, future Hendrik said Raspadori plus David. What is with all the Canadian Italians and Jonathan David? I really don't see that in him.
I like Jonathan David. I haven't seen a terrible amount of him because League On being on BN Sports makes it almost impossible to watch in the US, but I don't know. I something about him, I feel like maybe it's just cuz grass is always greener or something, but I think he could do something. He could at
Scored
least
two
do what
goals since
Lautaro is doing.
Christmas.
He could at least do what Lautaro is doing.
He scored 2 goals since Christmas.
Yeah.
Even Lautaro has more.
Yeah, but they're against one team. The other, well, I guess if you don't count Liverpool in the Champions League.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
I think it's all going to be more about who the main focal point is rather than that second striker.
Mm.
But yeah, sorry to interrupt you. You get back on
Yeah,
your.
no. Yeah, that was just my thought. Like, what's up with Jonathan David? Because like, from all what I've seen from him, he seems as inconsistent as Lautaro. I don't know. It's just weird. Um, and all the media outlets I've seen that it died down a bit as well. Like, not a lot of Jonathan David news in recent weeks as well. Um, so yeah, I think the front runner for me is still Skamaka, because even though I said he a couple of episodes ago he was a bit how do I say it, unproven, since it's only his first full season, or first season that he's been getting regular playing time. I think from what we've seen, he is class. He has it in him. Um, More than we can say from some of the other strikers we've been linked with. Also, future Hendricks, Caicedo plus Simi. I mean, David McFarland's wet dream would be someone from Udinese as well. Beto. Just start bringing those sorts of guys in. You're muted. You're still muted, buddy.
Hi.
Hi.
No, but yeah, Caicedo and Simi. I mean, they'll get you promoted from Serie B to Serie A, but other than that, that combo's not doing anything. Uncle Sharma says, yeah, back on Sinning says this is the Chinese style of communication, few words and only if really needed. Sometimes I kind of like it that way. You know, we're not putting ourselves into some unnecessary drama. You know, sometimes it is easy to miss the times where, you know, we're putting out statements, you know, saying that Agnelli's falsifying the truth when it comes to Calciopoli, like that's famous statement, things like that. But
I love that. I miss that. I want more of that.
and then Fern has a question. He says, "Are either of you familiar with Darwin Nunez? If so, what are your thoughts about those links?" I have no clue. I
He
know
plays in the
he is.
Portuguese league, right?
Yeah, that's where I was gonna go. I know he plays at Benfica. So the way that I feel about the Dutch league is the same way I feel about the Portuguese league. I don't want hide nor hair of those leagues. It's just so hard to find. At least maybe just for Inter, maybe other clubs are better at this than us. But you know, sometimes we just go over there and you just get the most expensive flop, João Mario style. I don't trust it. Maybe he's a good player. I'd have to watch Benfica. I don't even know where to watch
Well,
Benfica in
great
the U.S.
thing that you can watch them in 34 minutes playing against Liverpool. They actually play
I
Champions
didn't
League
even realize
quarters.
they were still in the Champions League. See how out I am on things? Oh
I
my
didn't even
god. Maybe
realize today was Champions League day.
same. Yeah, you know, I thought that whole competition ended when we lost. Like,
I mean,
damn.
mentally for me, it did. I don't care about the Champions League anymore.
Yeah, same. I watched the
uh,
final, but that's about it. Um,
Get a Liga. One player that I do like from the Portuguese league. Holy shit, he has 21 goals in 23 games.
yeah, that's a lot of goals.
Plus, he's 188 centimeters. That's like 6'3", 6'4" for you lot.
That's a decent,
No,
decent height.
6'3", 6'3".
He's only 22. I mean, he's younger than any of our strikers by a long shot.
Yeah.
But
Nunez and
he's,
Satriano.
yeah, I was about to say the Uruguayan connection.
That would that could be. Apparently, his weakness is passing. So SofaScore says. I don't trust SofaScore though.
Sean
Though
says
some
that's 6'2". I'm glad we have some
6'2".
mathematicians in the
Sorry.
chat.
No, but the one prospect that I do like from the Portuguese league that I've been following a bit more is Fabio Vieira. Vieira from Porto. He's a midfielder slash right winger, or apparently left winger here. But like he just seems to be a creative spark, a creative force, like 11 assists in the league. Um, that's quite a lot. I know he scored over the weekend. He seems to be quite regularly scoring slash assisting, but again, it is the Portuguese league. Again, do we really want another João Mario? But I don't know. This is my wild pick for the future. Remember this clip? 1 minute free, 1 hour 3 minutes on episode. What is it? 70 what?
83, I believe. We're getting up
83.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's
getting up there.
83. Just so you know, I said it first. Fabio Vieira, the next Portuguese star, right here, set in stone.
Yeah, good luck.
No, but yeah, under that, I don't know who a
All right.
striker would be.
Yeah. Let's take this one last question. I think this kind of is bleeding
Mm.
into what we're talking about right now. Fern asking, without saying Skamaka, David, or Raspadori, who's the striker you would bring in? I feel like that's very, very hard.
I say
Uh,
trust our youth. We need to trust our youth more, as in Satriano and even in the midfield, the Gume. You know, we saw what happened when we brought in Bastoni, let them played them at loaned them out to Parma, and then incorporated him into the team. I'm not saying either of these guys can turn into Bastoni, but like I don't know why everyone in Italy is so against playing the youth.
I think I think that they could be, but I think it's still a year or two out. They need another loan. I do think that maybe either another year in France playing at that level, or a season in Italy playing a little more, infrequently. Would like I mean, no, I guess Bastoni did play just about every single match for that Parma team.
I
Um,
think so.
but yeah, I don't see them getting that much time. But even if they're just getting enough time to learn the ropes, might be enough. I'm not sure.
Mm.
Yeah, Satriano did score this weekend. It was a good goal, but also, oh, what's his name? Esposito scored. Oh man, that's so. I don't know. I don't know what to think about that guy. He's been dead for like 8 months and then pops up with that.
Let's look at Despacito stats.
I mean, he's still 19. I'd still give him a couple more years before I would think he would be ready at this level that we are
So in the
discussing.
league, 16 games, 5 goals, 5 assists. For a 19-year-old out on loan in the league that he hasn't played in with before, that's all
It'll be
right.
another loan after that. Yeah, I don't.
Uh,
I think in the short term, medium term, we still need someone, arriving at or closer to their prime. Um, yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, what to answer Fern's question? I guess the Lukaku loan. I mean, that would be quite perfect. I think, but it's very wishful thinking.
but could you imagine Lukaku coming back? I
I'd take it at this point. You know what? He fucked around. He found out. I mean, he can come back if he wants.
he'd have to make amends with the fans first, if you ask me. Kurva Nord would not appreciate him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's such a weird time to be on the market for any kind of player. Really, I feel like most teams are still trying to recover from the pandemic, see what they have. A lot of players, the adjustment from a year of playing with no fans to fans being back to playing more regularly. I feel like it's still an adjustment period to where no one is really putting anyone on the market. No one's really looking that hard. Um, Maybe that's just the way that I'm seeing. Maybe I can't see the forest through the trees, but it's just a weird time, I think, for transfers.
No, I think it is as well. Um, Especially if you don't have the backing of the owners with the big monies to spend. It's really hard. Like either like you can try and go for the proven aging guys. You can try and go for the next young star, but like for the right now, it's really hard to pick someone up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess we can get out of here. We're hitting an hour 7. Yeah, the last thing, give me a prediction for Verona.
All right, now that Lautaro doesn't start, I feel a bit more confident. It's 2-0.
All right, yeah. I was gonna say 3-2. I think it could be a crazy one.
Oh yeah, shit.
Especially
You're
if
nice.
Giovanni Simeone comes out to play, it could be a crazy. It could be a pretty hectic match.
Yeah, plus it's against Ivan Juric. He always
Yeah.
seems to trouble us.
Well, no, Juric is at Torino now. Who's there? Who's it?
Oh no,
It's
he. Oh
Tudor,
yeah.
right? It's Tudor.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Igor.
Igor Tudor.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I've two very different predictions, but I think we're both hoping that you know that was the turning point. This is the wind in the sails. This is where you prove that, and this is where you continue to put on pressure. But
Honestly, even if we shit house a win is a win.
yeah, that is true. That is true. But yeah, any parting thoughts?
Not really. Subscribe to the YouTube, click the notification bell, follow the Twitters. You know the drill.
The usual. Yeah,
It's
I
the
mean,
usual
it's
standard.
been it's been about 3 weeks. I know the chat peaked at about 12. I think that's pretty good. Just getting back. It would have been more if we'd have jumped straight on the hype, but that's life. Glad we could
Thanks for
get out a
everyone to
whole
joining in.
episode. And
Yeah.
yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you all in the next one.